Hey guys, it's Jake with the Bushcraft channel, back here again with another video. And what we're going to talk about today is how to properly use one of these SOL blankets. I see these a lot on different types of videos and things, people recommending carrying them. They're really good. These are a lot better than just your cheap ones that you can get at Walmart or whatever. These actually have a little bit of stretch in them. They're a little bit bigger and they're just overall a little bit more durable. But it's something you can carry that is super small, lightweight, and compact. If you were to get stuck somewhere overnight, you have a small shelter setups. But this, partnered with some sort of emergency drum liner like this one, makes a pretty good little shelter kit. But what I see is a lot of people actually don't know how to use one of these and set this up. This is not one of those things that you want to wrap yourself in all night with no fire and basically just sleep in it, because you're going to get super wet from it, from the condensation, because it does not allow condensation to escape because it's not breathable. Now granted, me personally, I wouldn't recommend someone carry this for their end-all be-all type of emergency blanket. I would actually recommend someone carrying this emergency reusable blanket. It's got a little bit of a bigger footprint. It's definitely a lot more durable. It actually has grommets on the side here on each corner, to where you can set it up a lot quicker and easier, so you don't have to waste your time with rocks or anything like that. But it is a little bit bigger compared to something like this. Get this thing turned around here. But it is a lot bigger compared to something like this. But it's kind of a give and take. So this is a little bit more durable. It's also a little bit bigger, and it's a little bit heavier than this is. This is definitely a lot smaller and compact. This is one of those things you can throw in your back pocket. But it's not near as durable as something like this emergency blanket or this reusable one. So stay with me, guys. I'm going to show you how you can set this thing up without tearing it or anything like that, or without damaging it more than you need to. So stay with me. So whenever you pull this thing out, my gloves in my pocket here along with all my other stuff. You pull this thing out here. As you can see, it's pretty thin, so you want to keep from ripping that. Kind of letting the wind help me unfold it here. You can see this isn't the biggest shelter at all. And sorry about the wind. It's just absolutely, it's super windy out today. But if you bring this up and you try to pull it, it just stretches. So this one is a lot more durable than those cheap $2 ones you get. I think this thing's like $5 or $6. So this one's definitely a lot more durable than your typical, I guess you could say, cheaper space blanket. But again, it's not as durable as a reusable space blanket. The reusable space blanket is pretty much like a tarp. Okay, so I've got a piece of cordage right here. This is just a piece of number 36 bank line. And I picked up some rocks in my pocket. And so really the best way to do this is put the rock inside of one of the corners. Make sure you got enough to kind of twist it up a little bit there. And just kind of twist it, just like that. So that's basically going to create a small toggle system for your line. And what I'll do is I'll just bring this around. Make sure it's pretty even. And just tie a square knot. So now we have the corner that we're going to attach to the tree. This is going to be in a plow point configuration. So now we have one corner of our emergency blanket tied off. So now all I'm going to do is just come over this tree right here and bring it around the tree just like this. And basically just tie pretty much just a shoelace knot for the most part. Pretty tight. Just like that. So now you have one point of your emergency blanket attached to the tree. All we're going to do now is basically put 3 more rocks in each corner, tie it off, and then stake it out. Okay, so when we get to the back corner, because that's what we're going to stake out first, is the corner directly across from the corner that we put onto the tree. This wind is going crazy right now. So we're going to put our rock in, fold it over, just like this, and just twist it. And what I'm going to do with this end and the rest of the corners that we stake out is I'm actually going to tie a clove hitch to it, because it's just going to stay on better. Just like this, slide it over top, and then boom, and then we're going to I'm going to put a small security knot inside of this, just an overhand, and then we're going to take this end of our line and run it through our stake using a Mylar spike, which you guys have seen in other videos. Take it just like this, line, and then run it through our stake, just like that. So now all we have to do is just pull our stake out pretty much. Okay, so we've got the shelter set up. As you can see, it's a fairly small footprint. You know, these shelters are not meant to be super big. They're made just big enough to fit your body in them for the most part. And then, of course, I would have a fire out front of it to keep that, you know, reflective heat coming off of that Mylar back on your body. And then since there's snow on the ground, I would put something on the ground like pine boughs. I would put like dried grasses, things like that stick up out of the snow. That way you can get to them and you know they're pretty dry. And basically what I would do is I would stuff my 55-gallon drum liner full of that stuff, tie it up, and then throw it in there. That way I prevent conduction from the ground. Of course, you would set the back up, you know, with the wind coming from this direction, so it's blocking the wind. That way you don't lose heat from convective breezes blowing by. I set this one directly into the wind just to aid me in setting it up, because these things can be a pain in the butt sometimes. As you can see, it's a very bright orange, which is what you want in a actual survival kit or in a survival situation. You want to keep everything brightly colored. That way it aids you in signaling for rescue. That way if someone was, say, walking down the trail or whatever, they'd be able to see this orange blanket. If I had this thing sitting up on this ridge about a quarter mile away from me, where I could see that whole ridge is pretty much snow covered and I could see everything on it, if I had this thing set up on there, I'd be able to see it super easily. Another thing we can do to help for signaling for rescue is put one big black X across the back of it, which basically just means no longer can proceed, need help. Again, as you can see, it's not super big on the inside, but it is big enough. Of course, you would want to move all this crap up underneath of it away from, or pull it out of your shelter before you set it up. But it is big enough to cover, you know, your body. If you got a fire out front here, you'd have that heat bouncing off this Mylar on your body all night long. And then, like I said, to prevent conduction from the ground, you would have some type of leaf bed, or in this case, it's snowing. So there is a ton of this dried grass sticking up everywhere that's dry. I just pile that stuff in here. You want 4 to 6 inches of compressed insulation to prevent conduction from the ground. So we're not going to be losing heat from conduction or convection, because the wind would be coming from the direction of the back of the shelter, blocking any convective breezes, like I said. And then we would also be blocking the conduction from the ground. Like I said, we could put a fire out here and have that heat rolling in on us all night long. Oh man, I'm getting too old for this. Oh. That's the beauty of having merino wool base layers. I got two layers of them on right now because it's like 18 degrees outside right now, and it doesn't matter if my cotton pants get wet, because that merino wool is still going to keep me warm. So now you can see how you can set these cheap emergency blankets up, or emergency space blankets up, in a shelter type configuration. Again, I would recommend carrying some type of heavy duty reusable space blanket, just because you'll be able to use it multiple times in a row without tearing it up, and it actually has grommets on it. So You don't have to worry about it tearing up in the wind or ripping or anything like that. It folds back up. It doesn't really weigh that much. You can fold this thing up super small, just like that, and then stick it, slide it into the back of your backpack. But if this emergency blanket right here, this cheaper one, is all you had, it would absolutely work. You just have to know how to set it up the right way, and you just have to be careful not to rip it. Like I said, we got it attached right here with a square knot, and then basically in the middle of our piece of bank line, we ran it around the tree and tied the same knot you would use to tie your shoes. And then on the corners, I used a clove hitch to keep the rock in the corner, and then a marline spike to stake it out. But this would absolutely work in a situation where this was all you had, no questions asked. I've slept under one of these before with no problems. Well guys, I'm Jake with the Buckeye Bushcraft channel. Appreciate you guys watching this short video on how to properly set up one of these cheaper emergency space blankets. Again, it's not my optimal carry decision, but it will definitely work in a situation where you needed it to. Anyways, with all that being said, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at Buckeye_Bushcraft, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.